hold that while I put my gloves on, please.
At a third of a mile long, it was once the world's largest electric melting shop, producing almost a quarter of Britain's electrically melted steel. Over 1.25 million tons of cast ingots each year. Engineering steels, flesh and bone of car engines, gearboxes, transmission systems, load-carrying bearings. The railways of the world ran on insulated steel melted right here at Temple. But that was yesterday. Today, you're looking at a dragon's graveyard. Down there is all that's left of one of man's mightiest crucibles of creation, an electric arc furnace. Only the particular beast, e-furnace in Temple pioneered many techniques which set the standard for manufacturing engineering steels worldwide. Since 1993, Lane Island. The melters who worked it used to say that once roused, life in that pit was like standing on the rim of a volcano. Its roar made your eardrums ring. Its breath quenched your energy. Its fury would snuff you out of the blink of an eye. Sadly, we can't turn it back on again.
No.
But perhaps, with your help, we can conjure up an impression of its awesome might. Imagine what it must have been like back in December 1977, when for 1 week, this furnace held the world record and turned out more steel than any other electric furnace anywhere else in the world. What you're about to witness is a representation of how scrap steel was recycled by an electric arc furnace. A process that once took 90 minutes. But first, let's make sense of where you are, why it's significant in the history of steelmaking, and what you're about to witness. First, this melting shop is as big as a cathedral, so you navigate your way around by landmarks. Way down to your right, past 4 more furnaces like this one, is the Sheffield Inn. Over to your left, past F furnace, is the Rotherham Inn, where the molten steel is refined, cooled, and cast into giant pieces known as billets, before being shipped off for finishing, and then on to manufacturers worldwide. Here, in the middle, where you are, is where the melting takes place. Ready to charge the furnace. It's stored in a huge vent behind layers Dick shop manager Roger Garbutt opened a Christmas card. It was addressed to his melters and e-furnace to celebrate their record-breaking skills. An average of 74 tons an hour every hour for a week. World record. And the well-wisher? None other than Jim Callaghan, the very reverend Prime Minister. We should be grateful too. Don't forget that steel is the backbone of the world we inhabit today. And with it, we can bridge rivers, shrink distance, and tower into the heavens. That's how versatile a material it is. But always remember this. Much of that steel was once made right here, right where you're standing. That's Steelos.
It's made around here. That's why Sheffield's